To add a course description, we need to add the course categories, locations, and providers as options, and then add the course description. The first step is the course categories. To do the categories, the locations, and providers, we need to make sure the options permissions are correctly set up. So we go into the Setup tab, look at permissions, filter by options, and make sure that you have your role has the options to be able to, or rather have permissions to be able to edit options. So in here we're going to add, edit, manage, and remove permissions, giving those to the role. We have to make sure we log out and log back in again, so those permissions that we've just applied are actually applied to our login. And now we've got to go through and we've got to add in some course categories. So we go up to the Publish tab, into Options, go through the various buttons that are there available to us, and we're looking for the tree button. View these options using a tree. So here we've got the tree. You can see there's little plus signs on the left hand side there that can open these out. We're going to add a new option, new course category before this node, and that's going to enable us to have another set of course categories available when we create our venues. We're going to add a child to that new course category we created called Basics. Make sure that the status is set to active. Explain the includer name shortly. And you open that up, and now we can include after this node. Once we've got a child there, we can include before or after the node and extend out the course categories. So this is active again, and now we've got two extra course categories there, basic and advanced. You'll notice in the course categories when it comes in lists, notice how first aid has a first aid before it, first aid basics, but the emergency response doesn't. That's about the includer name. So we're going to go back into the course categories, into the tree view, and we're going to edit the top level there and tick the includer name, and then it'll have a little N beside it at the beginning. That means that the name is being included in those children below it. So we go back to creating content. It will show you the drop down there. There we go. The emergency response now has emergency response basic, emergency response advanced. Next is to add locations. We do the same thing in options. So we go to the Publish tab, go into the Options button. We want to go to locations and again edit or view the options by tree view. And you'll see Australia there has Queensland, and then Brisbane. So Brisbane, Queensland, Australia is the nesting. And we're going to add, after this node, so we're going to add another, before this node rather, add another state, New South Wales. Again, make it active. Add that in there. And then we're going to create a child of New South Wales, namely that'll be the city, Sydney. Again, make it active. And we're going to edit New South Wales to add in this includer name option. So we're going to tick that, save that, and we'll show you how that's displayed. If we were to add new content and look at location, you'll see there that it says Sydney, New South Wales, but does not say Brisbane, Queensland. So if we go back to our options and edit using the tree mode again, you'll see there we can edit Queensland. We can tick that box, include a name, and that will enable us to have the Brisbane, Queensland display of that particular location. So there we can see it. Once we've set up locations, the next step is to set up providers. So to do that, we go into the Publish Options button. Then we can add or edit providers. Now, editing and adding course providers is something that usually is done just with a higher licenses, so you may not have access to this particular option. But if you do, this is the way to add in an option. You can add it in any other option, basically. Add after this node, type in the provider's name. So this is other organizations that you may be selling training for. And then we're going to go to status and make sure the status is active. And once that's added, we can actually deliver things like terms and conditions and course descriptions based on the provider name. So there's the provider setup. Now, after this provider locations and course categories is set up, the next is the course description. Now, setting up the course description involves using the Publish tab and adding new content. So the options we get here is name. Now, name is the internal name for the course description we'll be using. So you can set up course descriptions for in-house courses or special delivery courses. But yet they can use the same course category, setting up provider as well in this case. And location as well. If you only have one provider, if you've got a license that only allows one provider, then that'll be chosen automatically for you. So select the content type course description, add a label. In this case, the label can be used in emails and things. We've just copied some content there that we've taken from our website to do with our course. So you can see that the formatting copies across as well. If you've got HTML, if you're copying from your website, for example, it's got HTML formatting, and you can make any HTML formatting changes within course sales too, things like italicizing, bolding, etc. Use a variety of different tools and techniques that's in the ribbon there within the content editing feature. But generally, the small content or short content, that short content will be used within emails, long content used on website and possibly course descriptions. Thank you.